Hello children, welcome to your science class. So we have successfully completed learning chapter 14 water of your NCERT science textbook. Today we are going to have a quick revision of this chapter. Water. It is the most essential substance in our daily life for both plants and animals, and without water we cannot imagine existence of life. It would be very difficult to all of us if we are asked to manage our daily course with very little amount of water for a longer period. And apart from the basic essential needs, water play a key role in every aspect of human activity. Other than human purposes, water is much needed for plants and for industrial purposes. Where do we get water from? It is supplied to our houses through a network of pipes which is drawn from a lake or a river or a well. Final source of water we get is from the ponds, lakes, rivers and wells. But from where water is reaching into these water sources? You all know 2/3 of the entire earth is covered with water, which is in the seas and oceans. Oceanic water is saline, means salty, which is not fit for several purposes like drinking and for other essential needs. Though ocean water do not reach our houses directly, they play a key role in supply of water to us. That is by water cycle. Disappearing trick of water means evaporation. You know, while evaporating, the water from oceans leave behind the salt in the water and water droplets are raised into the atmosphere. This water vapor cannot be directly seen and it is much faster on heating effect. Evaporation depends on heating effect. You know, salt is obtained from seawater, letting seawater being collected in pits near seashore. And later the water is let to evaporate in the sunlight. That means the water gets heat from the sun to evaporate, and that is why evaporation is a continuous change observed and mostly from all open surfaces. Sunlight and heating effect makes evaporation much faster. Loss of water by plants. It is seen through transpiration, and even by transpiration, water later gets evaporated into the atmosphere, which is released by the plants. How are clouds formed? That means it is condensation. It is by condensation. Condensation plays a very important role in the water cycle. As we go higher in atmosphere, due to the cooling effect, the evaporated water vapor becomes cool and condenses to form water droplets, and eventually it forms the clouds. This water becomes so heavy in the clouds and fall back on earth as rain, snow or hail, etc. And this process is known as precipitation. Precipitation is the product of condensation of atmospheric water which falls back to earth due to gravity from clouds. All this water that reaches the land eventually again reaches back to the oceans. All the snow which melts and the water on land due to the rain flows in the form of rivers and ultimately reaches the oceans. But some rainwater is absorbed into the ground and stored as groundwater. Different forms of groundwater storage can be seen. For example, the open wells. The groundwater is drawn to the surface by hand pump or motor pump. Loss of groundwater leads to very drastic situations. If there is no vegetation, the runaway water washes off the top layer of soil, which is known as soil erosion. Other factors affecting less groundwater are laying of concrete land or roads, which is decreasing the seepage of water into the ground. Above all, a continuous water balance of earth, that is between the land and atmosphere, is seen in the form of water cycle by the process of evaporation, condensation, precipitation and collection. The rainfall varies from place to place throughout the year. It is not the same at all the places. In our country, the season of rain occurs mostly during the monsoons. Heavy rains may also lead to rise in the level of water in water bodies like ponds, lakes, rivers, etc. This will lead to submerged land areas by water and which is called floods. Floods will cause huge damage to crops, domestic animals, property and human life. And if there are no rains for longer period, the soil becomes dry and will lead to drought conditions. In such situations, farming becomes impossible. You know, availability of fresh water is very less on earth. Due to increasing population, water needs are also increasing day by day. That's why it is very important to use water very carefully without wasting it. For that purpose, we need to save water properly. One such method to conserve water is by rainwater harvesting method. And methods of rainwater harvesting is rooftop rainwater harvesting, where the water from the rooftop is collected into storage tank through the pipes. And the other way is to allow water into ground by drains directly that collect rainwater. This is how we can conserve the rainwater. So save water and you use the water properly and save it for the future. Thank you.